Hi, I'm Vincent Smith. The VCDL and I put this video together to give you, as a new member to Watch Team for Local Government, a bit of a tutorial for some of the roles and responsibilities that you have. So, start off by researching your locality on its own website. There should be a link there that has the elected and appointed officials. For a county, this is usually a board of supervisors, a county manager, county attorney, and a county clerk. For a city, there's a mayor, city council, city attorney, a city clerk, and usually a city manager. For an incorporated town, there's a mayor, a town council, a town attorney, a town clerk, and a town manager. The locality's website will also list the sheriff, and if there is one, the chief of police. The members of a board of supervisors, a city council, or a town council are all elected. The mayor of Richmond and the mayor of Virginia Beach are elected, but other mayors are actually a member of the city or town council and are appointed by that council to serve as mayor, a mostly ceremonial position. A county, city, or town manager is appointed by the supervisors or council to run the locality and answers to the supervisors or council. Sheriffs are elected. A police chief is appointed by the board of supervisors, city council, or town council, and answers to them. Clerks are appointed by the supervisors or council and work directly for them. Don't assume your elected leaders are anti gun. This is a mistake I see a lot of people make when they start out. I even made it myself, which is how I learned it's very wrong to make such an assumption. In most local elected bodies, it only takes 2 to 3 representatives to get an ordinance, resolution, or proclamation put forward for a vote. And you'll always find a few members of any elected body on the fence and easily prodded to sign on. They'll hide behind, well, I thought it warranted in an open discussion. But this is a really weak excuse for why they signed on. If they can be so easily influenced to put forth something that they aren't sure of, you need to watch them more, as they can also be convinced to vote for gun control. It's definitely handy to get to know the clerk and have a good working relationship. A clerk who's friendly to our cause can make your life a lot easier, and you in turn should reciprocate by letting the clerk know ahead of time if you're expecting to have a large Pro 2A turnout at a meeting. Ask your clerk to put you on the agenda distribution list. Most localities email the agenda out to this list of people and agencies, typically hours before it goes live on their website. Larger localities will have a brief agenda that's emailed out, and then the full agenda gets posted later. Here in Virginia Beach, it is not uncommon to have a 700-page full agenda for a bi monthly meeting. If you see anything on the brief agenda that looks like it could somehow tie into firearms, dig into the full agenda and actually read the verbiage of the resolution or ordinance. Keep an eye out also for zoning applications for conditional use permits or rezoning for a shooting range or a gun store that could affect shooting on private property. You don't have to fully understand the legal wording. Just throw up the flag by emailing the agenda and a brief description of the need for review to board@vcdl.org. The VCDL's legal advisor receives a copy of all emails to this address, and leadership will decide what, if any, action needs to be taken. They'll advise you what's decided. It's a good idea to get to know every member of your elected body. Ask them their position on gun rights. Research their position by looking into their voting history. Your local government's website usually should keep a public record of every agenda and each member's votes. Another way you can get a good idea of their 2A position is by looking into who donated to their campaign. Use a website called vpap.org, vpap.org. It's a very good source of information that shows exactly who gave how much money to who. Get to know the Pro 2A elected officials. Let them know your role. Make sure they're familiar with who the VCDL is and what we do. They should know, and they should have received the questionnaire from the VCDL before the last election. Ask them if they can keep you updated about anything coming up that affects the Second Amendment rights. Email them your contact information. It's not a bad idea to also get to know the anti 2A elected officials. Be willing to have the conversation across the aisle. Have a civil conversation, but also know when to politely walk away. Getting into a shouting match or extending a threat is exactly what the gun grabbers want you to do. They want that little soundbite to play for the world to hear on their Twitter account. If you can, attend meetings when you have time, even if there's not a 2A item on the agenda. Learn what each member is passionate about. It's information you can use when a 2A item does come up to tie into what motivates certain members of your elected body. While your job is to be on the lookout for firearms issues, it is not to represent the VCDL at hearings. The VCDL's president is the only one who can do that without specific authorization. But don't be afraid to sign up to speak on items that concern you as a resident when you get to those meetings. You'll be surprised at how much weight what you say can have. The vast majority of taxpayers are silent. I've seen a single speaker have an immense impact on items under consideration at one of these meetings. You don't have to be as eloquent as Thomas Jefferson to speak, but I will tell you that your influence increases exponentially with focus. Know what you're going to say, be focused, use an example if you have one. Staying focused gives an aura of seriousness and a watchful eye. However, if you go to your council meeting every week and speak incoherently on every item in an unfocused manner, you'll do two things. You'll irritate your elected officials by dragging out the meeting unnecessarily, and the elected officials will simply tune you out as being irrelevant. Speaking on every subject will make you as effective as birdshot at 400 yards. When you get a heads up or see an agenda item that requires VCDL attention, throw up the flag. Send the item to board@vcdl.org and include a brief background, any inside information you have from your Pro 2A board members, and whether or not that privy information can be distributed publicly. Your personal forecast of the likelihood of it passing based on your knowledge of your elected body. The time and address of the meeting, any relevant parking information. Be very clear as to whether or not carry is allowed in the building and in the meeting chambers. If in doubt, find out for certain. Ask the clerk, ask the sheriff, ask the police. Read your local ordinances. Verify from two sources if you're not sure. I had a meeting in Virginia Beach back in the sanctuary movement that had thousands of people attend. I had to put out that carry is allowed in that building and in those meeting chambers. There's a lot of responsibility. You don't want to be wrong and get people arrested or ejected from these meetings. Also include any special information that will help VCDL members from out of town when they come to the meeting. Like if you're calling people to a meeting in Emporia, make sure they know they're guaranteed a speeding ticket if they have a lead foot. Don't forget to include your phone number in case Philip or others on the board need to get in touch with you to clarify anything. Also, if guns have not yet been banned at your local school board property, you should keep an eye on the school board as well. Given the Commonwealth's passing of Code of Virginia 22.1-131.1 last year, which allows school boards to enact and enforce gun-free zones, you also need to apply all of the above to your local school board. If you can, get to know the board and their clerk the same as you did for your local elected body. Attend a few meetings, monitor their agendas. If you live in a large locality, you may need some help with this. Don't be afraid to ask the VCDL to find you another member to work in concert with you. Make sure you two stay in regular communication. Remember though, the school board gets some of its funding from the local government. The local elected board can have some influence via funding on the school board, but in most instances, they are required to stay out of each other's business. Speaking of asking for help, there's another place you can look for assistance. It's on the VCDL's website. Once you sign in, click My Profile at the top of the home page. Then click on Groups near the top of your profile. This will take you to a list of groups you're already a member of. As you can see here, I'm a member of the Virginia Beach WTLG group. To see what other WTLG groups are available, click on View All on the right side of the page under Available Groups. This will bring up the listing of all the groups across the state. Each group has a listing of the members, scheduled events, a blog, and a discussion forum. It's easy to add a new post in the discussion forum to discuss local issues. You may also want to consider joining other groups in your area to keep up with what's going on around your locality. So I hope this wasn't too long. I hope you got some information out of this that you'll be able to use. And if you have any questions, email board@vcdl.org, or you can reach out to me. I might be able to help you. You can reach out to anybody on the board that you've dealt with from the VCDL specifically. But appreciate you watching, and I appreciate your help with this.